You there, big boy?
Yeah.
There he is. What's up, brother?
How you guys doing?
We're doing good, man. How about you?
I need an intervention.
Well, I think that's something that Bert Kreischer has probably needed for quite a long time now, but in what sense?
Yeah, what do we need intervention for?
I just need I need someone to drug me at 4:00 in the afternoon so that I just go to sleep. So if I could get a Bill Cosby-esque guy to just come in and roofie that first drink I have and then put me to bed. Instead, last night I'm so almost embarrassed of this, but we're building a new house, and so I brought my parents over. My parents were out here, and we all went out and we had some champagne to kind of celebrate. It's still really long way. And all of a sudden I get one glass of champagne and the sunset and I listen to Widespread Panic comes on the radio and I'm like, man, I haven't listened to Widespread in a while. Next thing you know, I am cooking 3 Blue Aprons at a time, smoking weed, listening to Widespread Panic, shirtless behind my house, smoking a joint by myself, and I end up in the pool smoking a cigar. Here's the problem. I wake up this morning thinking, man, I did good. I probably didn't eat. I ate 3 Blue Aprons and I smoked a cigar, and I'm like, oh my God, I was a mess last night. I went off the rails.
And you were solo for most of this? Like in the beginning, you had your parents and your family, but then the rest of it is just you hanging?
My girl's in the bed. Oh, and then I got in a fight with my daughters because I go, hey, you guys need to clean up the kitchen. And they walked in and they're like, you made the mess.
Yeah.
Why are we going to clean up the kitchen? We didn't eat any of this food. And then my wife was my wife's, don't even get me started, but my wife's taking classes at UCLA. So she was doing a Zoom meeting back here, in her class. And so I'm by myself in the pool, just smoking a cigar, listening to Widespread Panic.
See,
dancing.
You know what?
Bro, you're the best.
I was thinking that I also need an intervention, but I don't need an intervention. I just got to talk to Bert. So I'm like, I only had 2 glasses of whiskey last night. I'm fine. I didn't smoke weed. I didn't cook food. I was shirtless eating day-old Domino's pizza, and I was just kind of I left it out on my kitchen table, and I was just standing there eating that in the dark. But that's
nothing.
That's child's play compared to Bert.
Nothing compared to what I did.
Yeah. So what you need to do is
I cooked a butternut squash last
night. So what we need to set up is almost like a pyramid scheme where I just talk to you and I'm like, I'm fine. And maybe you need to talk to Keith Richards.
Yeah, you got to find a real
You have a Zoom with Keith Richards today. Just be like, what'd you do last night? And be like, oh, I'm good. Don't worry about it.
I called Stanhope.
But here's the thing, man. And I just heard you talk about this on Bertcast with Adam Devine. You deserve it, dude. You are legitimately the hardest working guy in fucking comedy. It's crazy how much you do. So if you want to black out and cook a butternut squash, then fucking so be it, man.
Yeah, right.
I mean, seriously, you have what, 4 podcasts now, right? You didn't stop working. You're the only person in the world who just didn't stop working during coronavirus. You probably worked more than ever. You got 2 shows and a fucking partridge in a pear tree. It's of course you need to unwind, man.
Dude, I've made a statement and I very much regret. But I used to talk trash about Kevin Hart when he'd say he's the hardest working man. That's why he's so successful.
Yeah, I remember that.
I was like, I get so worked up because I really believe in luck more than I do hard work. I really genuinely do. Because if you're not lucky, you don't get the opportunity to work.
True.
If you got to get lucky a couple times so that people go, oh, I want to go see his shows. But I'm starting to empathize with him because we must have that same gene where I go, if I'm not working, I start losing my mind. I can't just sit on my hands. And so when the pandemic started, I was like, why I'm not going to just not tour. I'll figure out a new way to tour.
Yeah.
And some people have come up with brilliant ways to do stand-up. There's a place I used to do, Laughs Unlimited in Sacramento, where they give everyone motorcycle helmets. And so everyone's got headsets on, and then you do stand-up, and everyone's socially distant. Hey, it's amazing!
Wow.
It's amazing, and they do it outdoors.
Yeah.
So people are walking by, and you can be like, "Look at this fat couple." It's amazing. So I'm one of those people. I love a workaround. I love a good workaround.
Yeah.
And so I can't. I came up with the idea to my agent of doing drive-ins. I'm sure a bunch of people came up with that idea at the exact same time. But my agent found a way to do drive-ins. And
yeah, I mean, you did it right away. You didn't miss a beat.
We've done 40 cities. On my very last show is in Escondido on the 28th. 3 shows just out of the Friday show, and then The Cabin came out, and I did a game show with Snoop Dogg, and we doubled down. Me and Bill have a podcast, Bill Bert, and then me and Tom have one, Two Bears, One Cave, and both of us just doubled down. And then I started doing extra episodes of Bertcast because I knew I was tearing through podcasts.
Right.
So I was like, I might as well put the content out. And I feel like I'm.
But all right. So maybe at one point you got lucky. What would you say was like your break? I mean, I know the machine was when you popped, but like, did you get lucky in the sense of like it fell into your lap?
Oh, are you kidding me? 1997, Rolling Stone magazine discovered me and called me the number 1 in the country. Right. I mean, like, I look at that, like, I can't help. And like, look, other people's luck. Like, I was talking to Segura about his luck, and he goes, because we were trying to quantify times when we made a decision and went this way for whatever luck reasons, and it could have gone otherwise. Right. And Segura pinpointed his. He goes, all right. He goes, I'm doing the Maxim Comedy Tour with Charlie Murphy and Joe Rogan and John Heffron. And Charlie Murphy wants to go to dinner. And I'm like, through the roof. And I start to leave with Charlie Murphy, and Joe Rogan stops me and says, hey, man, you're funny. We should work together more. And Tom's like, I'm trying to get out the door to go catch Charlie Murphy.
Right.
You know, like, and he's like, had I not left at the time I did, I would never have become friends with Joe the way I am.
Right.
And then I start looking at it because I'm hardcore, like, butterfly effect sliding doors. And then I start going, that would have fucked up my career.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
If you hadn't met Rogan, I would have never met, like, what the, like.
Right. No, but so you have those moments, but now, you know, you could have just been like, all right, Two Bears, One Cave is a success, and like, that's what I do. But you decided to add like 5 other things and do 10 other shows. And so, you know, you take that luck, but now it's hard work on top of it. That's why you're really where you're at.
Well, I love what I do. That's another lucky thing is I don't consider, by the way, this is a job technically, like us talking, but I don't consider this work at all.
No, not at all.
There are millions of people listening to you right now going, this, I would do their job for free. Right. And so that's the other part is that when you get into an opportunity where people would do your job for free, you then just have to go, all right, I'm going to focus. And so for me,
I always say it is a hard job. That we're not coal miners, where it's not fucking physically demanding, but like it's hard to come in and be like, all right, what are we going to talk about today? Do I have the energy to talk about this? Like, what's the topics? Why? How long do I have to sit here? Like, when I get up, my ass is gonna be sweaty, and my brain's gonna hurt because I have to, like, rarely do you have to focus and be so zoned in for an hour, 2 hours, however long you're doing the show. So when you walk away, I always say when I get home and like, I'm like, babe, I just don't want to talk today because I did like 4 shows today and I don't want to talk because my brain hurts. I just want to sit here, have a glass of whiskey, and just be in silence.
Cook a butternut squash.
Right.
You know?
And like, you feel like an asshole, but like I am emotionally exhausted. I'm not physically exhausted. It wasn't the hardest thing I ever did. I didn't break my back, but it's fucking hard. And to do that 4 shows, 5 shows, a week is a lot.
My parents just came out to LA on my tour bus, and my dad was like, this is exhausting being on a bus all day. Like, I get done and I'm like drained, and I go, imagine doing 2 shows in a drive-in now.
Right,
and
exactly.
And he was like, oh my God. Like, he didn't realize, because you're right. There are times, like I did 2 Bears with Tom yesterday, and it was like a really intense episode. And then we sat, because we're doing another live. We do these live events.
Oh yeah, we'll get into it.
Online. And we're planning the live event of what we're going to do. And then you get home, and I know it sounds like I'm not a coal miner. I'll tell you what, man. I respect fat people who lose weight because that's work. Like, that's work. No one wants to get on the treadmill. Right. No one wants to change their life habit. I respect sober people. I never respected sober people before. I thought they were weak. They couldn't get their shit together.
I agree with that, though. I wholeheartedly agree with that still, because it's not that if you are sober, right, and you lived a life, right, and you partied and all that shit, and then I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, you hit the breaking point, and you're like, I can't do this anymore. People who never even step to the ledge, those are people who freak me out, because you're scared to be someone, like, you're like, oh, if I let my guard down, I'll start being someone else because I know how fucked up I am in here. Whereas, like, when I get drunk, I know I'm just going to be me. Like, it's fine. I know I don't have some dark triad inside of me that's going to fucking scare everyone and probably get me arrested and shit. Like, I'm just going to be a pretty fun guy and get fucked up. If you're scared to take that plunge, there's something wrong with you.
Because saying that sober people are weak, I mean, it's like they're overcoming addiction and staying away from something using mental fortitude.
Sober people, sure,
weak.
but people who didn't do it.
Right. No,
the strength is to stop after 2 bottles of wine.
Right.
I used to think this is going to sound absolutely horrible, and I'd like to apologize to them before I start this. But I used to look down on Jim Norton and Bobby Kelly because they quit drinking when they were like 15. I was like, you guys never even charged it, man. Like, you never did ecstasy? You didn't do mushrooms? Like, what the fuck? Oh, you guys had a couple drinks, went to juvie. I get
it. I love it. But I think, though, it might be mentally taxing for a lot of other comedians or podcasters or anybody in entertainment. But I feel like it just comes very naturally with you. Like anything I've ever listened to you on, the way that you're like you always kind of set the scene up with Tom, or you come up with the hypothetical, or you say like, okay, how about this? What if we blah, blah, blah? And I feel like these type of ideas or scenarios or whatever you pitch just like pop into your brain. Like, you don't have to sit around and think about it and like grind it out. I feel like that's just how your brain works. Am I right?
I'm a fight or flight guy. So like, I can't, like, Rogan was always like, he's always about getting behind the computer and writing his act out, and like writing bits or writing, like coming up with ideas and writing that way. I'm not that way. I can write. I mean, I wrote a book. I can write like that. But for me, for some reason, it's like it needs to be in the moment. Like even just us laughing about my night last night. Just for the record, I woke up bummed out about last night. Like I woke up really upset with myself. And my wife came in bed and was like, hey, do you remember our conversation? And I was like, no. And then I'm like, oh, wow, I fought with my wife last night. Like, this was not a great night. But then for whatever reason, when I get with you two guys or when I get with Tom or Bill, for whatever reason, the adrenaline of the moment helps me with thinking, and it helps me line up my thoughts. And so I'm not saying I'm quick at things, but like the fight or flight part is why I can write on stage. Right. It's why I get with Tom and I just start. I mean, that guy makes me laugh so fucking hard. And I mean, I told a story to him the other night that that happened to me, and it is not funny. But when I told it to him, we were crying, laughing.
Right.
And I was like, and I was like, oh my God, I got to tell that on stage. But I for whatever reason,
never would have until, yeah. Well, that's what I mean. I feel like you guys just naturally find the humor in things, and maybe it's you're compartmentalizing, or it's a defense mechanism, or I'm sure there's something deep psychological why it happens. But when you can always just see the matrix, and it's like that, I can turn that into funny. I can turn that into a bit. It just flows with you guys like effortlessly.
Yeah. But it's also I'm really safe around him. Like the story should be and he's got a very perverse sense of humor. The story's about a special needs woman, and I didn't, I personally don't find like mocking special needs people hilarious,
right?
So in this moment as a parent, I saw the story one way, but then when I tell the story to Tom, I realized, oh, there's an opening in here that is funny, really funny, and you're not mocking this. Maybe you are a little bit, but not really mocking the special needs person. You're mocking your own inability. Like I was mocking myself,
right?
And man, I'm like so pumped for this story. I can't wait to get back on stage. I'm on stage this weekend and next weekend in Escondido, and I'm like so pumped.
How quickly do you work something like so that happened a week or two ago, and now you have it as like a polished bit, or you're just gonna let it rip up there and kind of tell like story tell?
No, for whatever reason, I wish I'd recorded it telling it to Tom, but for whatever reason, it worked telling it to Tom. Like it worked, and then I went, okay, now when I take it on stage, it won't work. I'll be very conscious. Like if I told it to you right now, it wouldn't work. You'd go, thing. Yeah, I'll tell it to you right now. So
let's do it.
And by the way, and so for whatever reason, the first time you tell it, you're not seeing the bushes in the forest. You're just walking through the forest.
Yep.
The second time you see it, you start seeing the bushes and you're like, oh shit. Like it's like skydiving. When you go skydiving, the first time's amazing. The second time you're like, he should have pulled the chute by now.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. You have a little bit of knowledge, and now you're fucking overanalyzing whatever. Well, let it rip.
So
Let's see what happens.
I'm not gonna overanalyze. I'll just tell you the story. And by the way, this is gonna sound horrible, and this will get me canceled. And you're gonna go, "Wow, you should have just worked that out on stage." So we were performing in Boston. Me, Dave Williamson, my cousin Andrew's with us, and it's the three of us, and we're performing in Boston, and we got to make the bus ride to like New York to catch a flight. We stay up all night and we party. We get to the airport, we start drinking at the airport, and we have a 6 a.m. flight, like the earliest flight out. And I have nothing to do that day. Dave Williamson has to go spend the day with his kids. He's got to be a parent all day, right? And he's like, it's fine. I'm going to just sleep on the plane. And I was like, cool. So we get on the plane and I get my headsets in. I have a cocktail. We're sitting before takeoff. And my dog just locked me in my dog just hit the lock button on my door.
In what? In like your studio here? Where are you right now?
My dog just climbed up the thing and hit lock and just got down. So we get on the plane. I get my headsets on. I get a double Jack on the Rocks. I'm like, I'm passing out immediately, right? So right before takeoff, I take my headsets on. My phone's blowing up. I take my headsets on, and it's Dave and Andrew texting back and forth. And as I take my headsets off, I hear an elephant. It sounds like an elephant. Oh, no. It's just like loud as shit, and it's directly like it's 2 rows behind me. And I took my phone, and it's Dave and Andrew texting me. I go, what the fuck is that noise? And my cousin Andrew writes, there's a special needs woman in the front row, and apparently she has some tics. And I write, is that noise? And they're like, and Andrew writes, yes, no. She's with her grandmother. Her grandmother is a fucking saint, and people are being kind of rude about it. And then I write back, are you near her? And Andrew goes, I'm sitting behind her. And then Dave chimes in, I'm sitting next to her.
Oh boy. And
I write to Dave, and I go, Dave, do you think you're going to get any sleep today? And he writes back, definitely no sleep. And then writes back, definitely. So I write back, is she hot? and Dave writes back, I wouldn't say she's hot, no. So I'm like, all right, whatever. So I put my headsets in. I'm like, not to be a dick, but like as a parent, I empathize with the grandmother that it's got to be rough to have a child with tics that everyone's looking at and kind of like making eyes going, we wanted to sleep on this flight. Mm-hmm. But Dave's also a dad, so I know he's going to be fine with it. So we take off and I pass out and I wake up and I've only been asleep. I feel great, but I've only been asleep like an hour and a half. We still have like 4 hours left on this ride and this flight. And I hear the noise has gotten worse. It is so bad that I'm like, oh my God. So I decide to do the solid move. I go to the flight attendant and I say, listen, my buddy, Dave, has got 2 kids. He's got to stay with his kids all day. He is sitting next to that special needs woman. I said, listen, can I get a double Jack on the Rocks from you? And then I'm going to switch seats with him in first class. I'm going to let him sit in first class and get some sleep because I don't need, listen, I can deal with that. I got kids. I don't have a problem with that. I understand. I'm not going to be bothered by it, but
good friend. That's some Band of Brothers shit, man. Yeah.
Right. I'm a solid dude. So, and then I tell her, I go, listen, don't give him drinks. Keep sending the drinks back to me and coach. I'm sitting in his seat. Keep sending the drinks back to me. And she looks at me and she goes, you are a saint. And I was like, my name's Bert Kreischer. I'm on tour. And so,
make sure you tell the paparazzi about this and let me get some good press. Yeah.
She gives me a double Jack on the Rocks. And I start walking back to where Dave's sitting in bulkhead and coach. I open the curtain and the first thing I see is the grandma. The grandma is a saint and she is cool as a cucumber. She is calm and she is stroking the leg of the special needs woman. And I then see the special needs woman who is 6'3", looks like she cuts her hair with a knife. And she has 2 oven mitts taped to her hands.
Oh my God. What? Oh my God.
I look at Dave, who is fucking stone-faced like this, going, I take my drink, I give it to Dave, I go, good luck, buddy. And I go back. She had oven mitts taped to her fucking hands. This woman's violent.
I mean, come on, that's funny. I was going to try to help you until I realized it was dangerous. I'm not going to risk my life here, pal. I'm just going to let you get some shut-eye.
Catch a fucking elbow. So I totally forgot about that. And then Tom and I are telling stories, and then all of a sudden you tell the story, and then you tell it the first time. You know you got a good end to it, right? You know the end. Man, I'm telling you, when I saw that she had oven mitts duct taped to her hands, I was like, my face went like this, and I realized Dave's been dealing with whatever's going on back here for 2 hours, and I am not double dutching into this. Gave him my drink and went back to the flight attendant, and she goes, "It's the oven mitts." I said, "Yeah."
I like how you started too with like sometimes just like it's not making fun of special needs people. You just don't know how to deal with them really, and I definitely don't because the entire time, and I'm still not sure if I'm wrong here. I was picturing that she's covered in ticks. like when you were like, and she's oven mitts, I'm like, well, no wonder the ticks are bothering her because she can't scratch at them.
The ticks.
Oh,
oh, you're an idiot. I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
man.
those, but for whatever reason, like, and then see that I'll tell it on stage, and it'll be too quiet for times, and then I'll rush it or whatever it is, and then you just gotta punch up the story. You gotta find the story. It's sometimes a good misunderstanding is like what makes a bit great, and then or just I don't know. I like a good reveal. So but I have a story. I have a story right now that I'm closing on that's so good, and it's about me finding a lost kid. That the first time I knew when it happened to me, I knew this was a good story because
found
there was
a lost kid.
I found a lost kid. I'll tell you very quickly, but listen. If you're gonna come see me live, do not listen to the story. This is my closing bit right now, okay? But it's a good story. It's a really, really good story because, and I'm gonna work it through how I would as a bit to explain what I liked about it. So I found it was on 4th of July one full year ago, and I found this kid, and I couldn't. He was crying. I was with my daughters. We were on a parade, and he was crying aggressively. And I was like, "Buddy, what's the matter?" And he was like, "I'm lost." And
how old are we talking?
Like kindergarten.
Okay. Oh,
and
Jesus Christ.
I'm like, yeah, and in a parade, right? And so I'm like, I'm a parent, so I'm like, "What's the matter?" And he's like, "I'm lost." I'm like, "Is your mom here?" And he's like, "I don't know." I said, "What's your mom's name?" And he's like, I don't know. And I was like, "Okay." I was like, "Okay, is your dad here?" And he goes, I don't know. I said, "What's your dad's name?" And he goes, "Oh, like David, maybe Michael." I'm like, Jesus, this kid's a fucking mess. I go, "Do you know your name?" And he was like, "My name's Nathan." And so we find this kid and we start walking through the parade. Me and my daughter's trying to find his family, yelling loud as fuck, going like, "How the fuck are we gonna find? He doesn't even know his parents' name." And finally, and then by the way, this is the misdirect. This is what I love. A kid in his class, I'm telling you the very skinny version, kid in his class recognizes him. Go over to that kid. He's with his family, and I go, "Hey, he's lost." And the dad's like, "Oh, his family's like right next door." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." So I go over next door, and I'm like, "Hey, I found a Nathan. Did anyone lose a Nathan? He is really lost. He's confused. Is there a David, maybe a Michael here?" And this dude comes out. And he's like, "My name's David." And I said, "Do you have a Nathan?" He goes, "I do." I said, "Well, he's freaking out. He's kindergarten age." And he goes, "Yeah." I go, "He's freaking out. He's lost." And he goes, "My Nathan's not lost." And I went, "Excuse me?" And he goes, "My son's not lost." And I went, "Okay, but you have a Nathan?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, do you want to come and take a look?" And he goes, "I'll look, but it's not my son." And I went, "Whatever. Like, what do you think? This is how I meet dudes? Like, get the fuck over here. Come on." So as we start to walk over to see Nathan, my daughters are with him. Another dude comes out and he goes, "Did you say you have a Nathan?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "I have a Nathan." I said, "What's your name?" And he goes, "Michael." And I went, "Oh." I go, "David, it's not your Nathan, it's his Nathan." And all of a sudden, David goes, "Michael, you were supposed to be watching Nathan. Are you drinking again?" And I realize all the fucking math in my head. In this moment, I'm like, oh my God. Turn the corner, see my daughters, and my daughters are like, "Shut the," and then I'm like, "Nathan, look what I found." He's like, "Daddy's?" Runs to them, and immediately my youngest daughter goes, "That's why he doesn't know his mom's name." And so that misdirect, well, for me, it was like, oh shit, I can write a bit about this, punch it up, make it funny. And then what happened is, by the way, this bit did not work the first time I did it, but I have another bit about finding a black dude's wedding ring on a beach, where I was like, oh, just gotta connect the two, find a theme. My name's Bert Kreischer. I find lost things, and then have that be the running bit. And so, but you can work it out. Like even still, you got to kind of like sit with it and go, how do I end? How do I like what? my favorite part of that whole thing is my wife's a redneck, and she does not use hate language. She always says things in like interesting ways. Like when I said his dads were gay, she goes, "Oh, his dad is a sugarfoot," and I went, "What?" She goes, "A sugarfoot, a sissy." And I went, "I've never heard that ever in my life. Like, what fucking world are you living in?" And then I said, "It's Foxworthy," and he goes, "Oh yeah, a sissy, a sissy." What the fuck word?
I thought a sugarfoot is what you call diabetic people.
Either way, sugarfoot sounds worse than hate speech. Someone calls me a sugarfoot.
Yeah. By the way, I love being called a sugarfoot. I'm probably a saltfoot.
But yeah, I mean, everything you described there, man, it's why it works so well with you guys. When you guys get cooking, especially that latest live show that you alluded to, the next one you're going to do. I mean, the first one was fucking bananas. You guys went nuts. When I got the reveal of Owen Gray, I've never seen, and then you did it this week when Tom got you that fucking electric bike and you were just like, dude, you are the best friend ever. Like, you make me so happy. That, when he did that for you with Owen Gray, that was maybe like the most wholesome friendship moment I've ever seen. You were so happy and so grateful. And then the way that you interviewed Owen Gray, as if you were talking to fucking Michael Jordan about basketball. They were like, you were telling him how he fucks it. I mean, it was incredible. Then you showed you his dick. It was wild, man. It was Bro, insane.
I'm telling you right now, Tom said to me this week, he goes, because this week on the podcast, we got gay dudes to send their gifts that they've bought their boyfriends.
Right.
And they are phenomenal.
Awesome.
I mean, gay dudes buy the best gifts for each other. I mean, because they know what to get a dude. And
they spend some money on it. They want to make you happy. They're trying to get you a good gift the way that we do for the women in our lives, and it never gets reciprocated.
And it's dialed in. It's like being able to hit a home run and hitting them. And so I'll tell you right now, I am planning Tom's birthday for April. His birthday's in April. I'm planning my gift now, and I'm trying. I may not hit it, but my goal price point, because for everyone that doesn't know, Tom bought me an e-bike, and it was like the best present I've ever got. He spent $3,000 on my birthday, like $3,000. My wife spent like $1,500. He spent $3,000. I don't even fuck this guy. And so I said to him, this is our challenge. For every birthday, we will get the next person's birthday, we'll spend more than the last guy spent.
Jeez.
So I've got to spend more than $3,000. My goal, I'm looking at a present that costs $311,000 right now.
What?
311. Dude, let's get to $1 million before I'm 50. Let's get to $1 million before I'm fucking 50.
What?
I want a jet.
Are you getting him a Lamborghini?
Yeah. Are you? I mean, I guess you can't reveal it.
Listen.
$300,000 for your buddy?
Listen, this is what I'm blessed in the way that I can leverage my services for a product.
Yeah.
So right now I'm shopping my services out to a number of businesses, saying, here's what I can give you. Here's what I offer you. I offer you for advertising on my podcast. I can offer you all these things. I'll shoot commercials for you. I'll do whatever you need. I want to spend it. I got to break $100,000. That's my thing. I got to break $100,000. I would love to get to $300,000, because if I spend $300,000, then he's not going to go
$500,000. Yeah.
And then for my 49th birthday, I'm going to get a $500,000 present. Are you fucking kidding me?
I know you said this is for a guy you're not fucking, but if you guys keep on this path, you're gonna have to eventually fuck each other. Just be like, listen, I'd
be cool with it. I mean, it's such a, to have someone who is consistent. This is what's, amazing about having friends that you work with, but to have someone who consistently agrees with your ideas, even when they're stupid, and allows you to help think them through. Mm-hmm.
Which is a very important trait for if you're buddies with Bert Kreischer. You got to get all that wacky shit out there and let you fucking navigate it.
Last night I got into a fight with my wife because I said, because I said, because I'm the dad and I said so. And she goes, what about me? My wife can't even agree with me in hypothetical situations. I mean, we were at dinner with some friends. This is like a week ago. We were at dinner, and everyone's leaving LA, and all my friends and they said, "Hey Bert, hypothetically, where would you move if you were going to leave LA? And I went, probably Florida. I love Florida. Key West would be and my wife goes, hold on, you're not going to talk to me about this? And I went, it's a hypothetical situation. And she goes, I know, but still, I don't want to live in Florida. I go, hey, they didn't say, hey, Bert, can you consult with your wife? Get back to me in a month, as opposed to right now where it's convenient and we can continue this conversation. I go, what was I supposed to say to them? You know what? I can't answer hypotheticals without running them by my wife. I was so angry. I was like, they just said hypothetically.
I think that I'm going to generalize here. I think girls sometimes have a hard time living in that fantasy world because everything is supposed to be so real.
Right.
And so no, this isn't real. We're just fucking around.
And that's what we do
making up fake things.
When we're in fucking first grade. You know, like who would win in a fight, or who's your favorite this, or what's your favorite superpower?
Who would win? LeBron or Jordan? We can't figure it out. We're just going to yell at each other about our stupid opinions.
They don't do any of that. It's all so real to them.
I can't even pitch a good idea to my wife without her shooting it down initially and then going, like, for Tom's birthday present, I go, I want to show you what I want to get Tom. And I pull up a picture and I flip it. And she just goes, no, I'm putting an end to this. I go, hang on. I haven't told you anything about my idea. She goes, I'm looking at your idea. I go, no. I'm not paying for it. She goes, well, then how are you getting it? I'm like,
fucking relax.
I was going to tell you all of this. If you had just said, seriously, like the way a dude would. Seriously. Like, I mean, Tom and I have had some of let me tell you something. On that live gig we did, we tethered our penises together with electrodes and got electrically shocked by a dominatrix. For those of you not that didn't watch it, that's what happened. And so the purity in a relationship, when you're sitting in a room with another man holding onto electrodes that need to go around your dick, and you hand it to him and you say, put this on your dick, and he goes, I think this is a bad idea, and you go, trust me, and he does
it. That's
the ride or die.
When you guys walked in that room with the dominatrix, Tom at first was a little uncomfortable just taking his shirt off, and by the end of it, he had electrodes on his dick and he was getting like fingers in his ass. I mean, he followed you to the end of the earth. He followed you into the gates of hell in his eyes.
Yeah, and my wife would never do that. Like, she just goes, no, I'm not doing that. I've got a back problem. And you're like, and by the way, I don't mean to shit on my wife, but if you're going to, she's a great woman if you're comparing her against other women. You just can't compare her against man.
No.
Like, you can't. My relationship with Tom is so much stronger than my relationship with my wife.
But of course it is. There's no complications. There's no drama. It's just all the good shit.
I got a doctor that's prescribed us peptides, right? Like, peptides, no one even knows what they are. They're not FDA approved, but they help you lose weight and look young, right? So I get 25 peptides sent to my house. Shots. You inject yourself with shots. By the way, guy didn't take my blood results. Guy, I don't even know if the guy's got an office, right? Who knows? I get them, and my wife goes, what's in them? I go, does it matter? I go, we're going to look young. And she goes, I'm not taking them. And I go, you being serious? And she goes, I'm not taking them. So I talk to Tom, and he goes, have you started taking those peptides yet? And I said, no, Liam won't take them. And he goes, I'll take hers. And I'm like, that's what a friend is.
Yes. 100%.
A friend injects themselves with anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why it works, man.
We did a I mean, by the way, now I'm doing, because I'm in therapy because of this, because she takes my ideas and just shuts them down. Whereas Tom, I've said the dumbest thing. When I'll tell you off air what Tom and I are doing for the next live gig we're going to do. We're doing another live gig. I can't tell you the day, but I can't. We haven't announced it yet. Let's just say New Year's. Anyway.
Let's just say a specific day.
Yeah, won't say the day, but right around the stroke of midnight. Anyway, so the idea that we're doing is so hilarious. It's so, I mean, it literally is maybe the greatest idea I've ever had that is the worst idea for my career. Like the thing that may get me not any more work ever again. But the fact that I'm doing it with Tom gives it a green light for it to be hilarious, right?
Right.
Now, if I told it to my wife, by the way, I told it to my wife would be like, no fucking way. Like, just no. And just she doesn't see the possibilities of, and maybe it's just like, listen, Tom and I are just creative dudes who see endless possibilities in comedy. And she isn't. She's someone that lives very tactile, lives in the moment. And she's like, that doesn't make sense. Why would anyone like that?
But you know what?
Does that affect you though? Because like when I have what I think is a great idea, and obviously it does affect you because you said you're in therapy. And then like one person says, no, that's not a good idea. I believe them because I have more faith in them than I have in myself. Whereas I'm like, so I can't tell basically anyone but Kevin anything. Where I'm like, all right, this will be good. He's like, yeah, we'll give it a try, sure. And we're not nearly as extreme as you are. It's more just like talking about things and shit. But there's the second someone tells me they don't think it's a good idea, I'm like, fuck it, never mind. Let's skip it.
And the negative always hits harder than the positive. You know, you have 10 people say that's a great idea. The one guy who shits on it is what you focus on.
Yeah, I stopped telling my ideas. I'll tell you a great idea. I had an idea on the treadmill. I was watching Netflix did a documentary on the Challenger explosion.
Yeah.
And immediately I just said, Tom and I should do a movie called Fat Astronauts. And right, okay. So this is and so I'm super excited. I walk in and I tell my wife, and she goes, that's dumb. Why would they send fat people to space? And I was like, why would they send fat? You just asked a question. You asked a question that this movie clearly will answer. That's why we would answer it in this fucking movie. What do you mean? Like, are you being serious? Why would they? That's a hilarious answer, I think, Leanne. One that should be 90 minutes long and end with a fucking 2 fat guys saving the earth. I told it to Tom. Tom not only thought it was a great idea, mentioned it in a meeting, and fucking practically sold it. Like, it's like. Yeah, and you're like, yeah, you guys. So now we're gonna make Fat Astronauts.
If that is not made, I would be stunned. Especially you guys, you painted that picture of like a. At one point, don't you like slaughter a bunch of porn stars in the spaceship or something? There's like dead porn stars floating by.
The guy that's fucking all the girls.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be not only is it a good idea, it's gonna be like the funniest movie of all time. But she, you know, but you also
must be like, hey, if you didn't turn down these good ideas, then you already have an answer to how I'm paying for this $300,000 gift because we're making a lot of fucking money. Like, you don't even have to ask how do we pay for that.
Hey, you're not allowed to say that in our house. You can't say Daddy makes all the rules because Daddy makes all the money. That's a big no-no, apparently.
But it's all rooted, as you said, in her. Like, she doesn't want you to look stupid or do anything bad for your career. But sometimes you just got to say yes and, like, just let me do my thing, you know? But you guys have the same brain.
I came out with a lot. I mean, a lot of my ideas are stupid and just stupid. And like, I can own that. I'm also cool with letting an idea fail. And there's so many people that are afraid to fail. Here's what happens. When you get a little bit of a success, there's a very easy road you can take. You can do red carpets and you can do Access Hollywood, which by the way, I did the other day. It was really fun. But you can do like you can do stuff like that. And then kind of stay in the safe modular path of it. Do a podcast, don't curse on it, don't say aggressive things. And then but I never found that fun. Or you could be a comedian and not do drive-in movie theaters. That's what I mean, there are a lot of guys that said, and then by the way, Tom was my best friend, said, I think that's a bad idea. I don't want to be a guinea pig right now in what's going on in this world. And I just was like, I think it's a good idea, I'm gonna do it. And so I'm the kind of person that goes, I think it's a good idea, I'm gonna do it. I've had a lot of bombs. But like, I stand by, there's certain ideas that I stand by where I go, just I had the idea for Something's Burning, my current cooking show. I pitched it at Food Network and they passed. They said, who's going to watch a guy who can't cook? And I went, I don't know. I think I would.
Yeah.
If it's funny.
Right.
And now it's got millions of downloads on YouTube.
Right.
And you're like, and so, but my wife is but here's the crazy thing is that when my wife does like an idea, it's usually a banger. Like if you can pitch
so that's good. So she has like the high standard where it's like you do know if you got her approval that it's going to be like platinum, and then the other ones, you know, I think that's as long as she keeps it consistent, then you know.
We were on a call. I was on a call and someone said, I think we'd like you to, because I wrote a book, Life of the Party, and we're like, we're interested in you writing another book. And I was like, okay. And so I was like thinking about it. And I'm on the treadmill and I'm writing down like just ideas that I have. And then I come into my wife, I go, hey, they want me to write another book. I go, I think I'm going to write a self-help book. And my wife starts laughing hysterically and goes, "That is a genius idea because you are the dumbest fucking person when it comes to fixing your life." She was like, just, I want to know what chapter 1 is. I go, chapter 1's give yourself a nickname. Like, and she goes, "Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God." And I start, and like, she goes, "What's number 2? Chapter number 2?" I go, "Chapter number 2 is everyone needs a treat." And she was like, "Oh my God. Your fucking way you live life. You have been successful with the most fucked up set of rules that you like established for myself."
Yep.
And she goes, "This is going to be fucking hilarious." And I go, I go, "It's not going to be funny. It's going to be for people that need help." She was like, No. The fact that you're being serious about it means it's going to be hilarious. She was like, "Oh my God, you really think you can help people?" I go, "Listen, baby." I go, there's 1 or 2 people out there like Jocko Willink or David Goggins. There's millions of Berts out there.
Right.
If I can help, if I can help a guy like me who is going nowhere in his life at 25, going, maybe I'll operate a lighthouse. Maybe I can fucking get them on the track, and we can get a couple scientists out there.
I mean, I am I reject self-help books because I always think they're written by more to-do people, and like, look, I'm not going to get up at 6 a.m. every morning and do push-ups and make my bed and all this fucking shit.
Right.
But if I can just do a little bit, like you said, get me on the right track, I'd read that book right fucking now.
Yes. Do it, Bert.
Yeah. And
actually, to be honest, it only needs to be the 2 chapters. Give yourself a nickname and the treats thing. Bert subscribes to the idea of you got to have a treat. You got to have like the dangling carrot. At the end of the day, I do my work, I get myself a treat. That could be the end of the book, and you're on the right path already.
Dude, I'm telling you, one of my buddies is a big movie producer, and we were talking about this idea, and I said, and he goes, "So like, what are your chapters?" And I was like, give yourself a nickname, gotta have treats. And he goes, "Oh, gotta have treats." I went, "What?" And he goes, "Gotta have treats." Oh my God. Oh, hold on. This makes a lot of sense. And then he started explaining in philosophy and in practicality of like life lessons of philosophers who believed in this thought. And he goes, "There's actually some weight to the way you're living your life."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Really?" And then I was like, "Whoa, maybe I'm." But here's the thing: I have a problem with self-help books. Is I'm not shitting on. I just named David Goggins and Jocko. I love those guys. I bought both their books. I haven't read either of them, but I bought both their books. But like, they're not the guys. But there are a lot of guys out there. I won't name names. There are a lot of guys out there that are regurgitating stuff they've heard other self-help people say, and just repackaging Cahill Gibran and going like,
Yeah.
And especially if you have an accent, it just sounds like it makes more sense.
Totally.
And you're like,
totally.
I go, why not take? I had a dream one time. I had a dream one time that Matthew McConaughey and I were in a car, and he was telling me, philosophizing about life, and I go, "Man, I'm so sorry. I can't listen to you. I have a hard. I'm stupid, and all these things you're saying, like, I don't know what they mean, and I'm not listening anymore." I go, "I'm not as smart as you." And he goes, "You're smarter than me." I said, "Why?" And he goes, "Because you have brand new thoughts. I'm just telling you stuff I read. You have brand new. This isn't my dream. My dreams are never good for me."
But you are, man, like, to go back to kind of like full circle, like you are a wildly successful dude. I'm sure you're pretty wealthy now. Your family's in great shape. Like, yeah, all right, you like to you get banged up and you have like goofy ideas, but generally speaking, you are in like the top 0.00001% of people who have ever walked the earth, Bert Kreischer. You are, you know what I mean? Think about it. The trillions of people have been alive. You're like in the elite club. So fuck anybody else who tells you otherwise. Fuck them.
It's going to be awkward when you're at my funeral and I play this clip. Did he put a sizzle reel together? Everyone going, Bert Kreischer ran a marathon with no training at all.
Yeah, the Alex Jones of fitness, right?
The Alex Jones of fitness.
Love it, man. We're gonna rip.
Yeah, I definitely. I don't know about that statement, but thank you. I will definitely think of that when I'm on the treadmill.
Yeah, flesh it out. All right, we're gonna rip a little answer the internet before we let you go. I don't know if you remember playing it last time. Hypothetical questions from. All right, so start off here. If you were in an open field with an aluminum baseball bat, how many 10-year-olds wearing bike helmets could you take down before they got you?
I bet this is very amazing. I've actually thought this question before in my life, not with the aluminum baseball bat and not with the helmets, just how many I could defeat All right, let's see.
We could do it your way too. We don't need to do the bat and the helmets. We could do it your way if you've already thought it out.
No. Bats and helmets are good.
All right.
Bats and helmets are good. Now, I'm basing this off of a round of golf. I'm going to definitely say that I start getting tired around 95 swings. Okay. Now, that's 95 swings throughout a 2-hour period. If you're talking about 95 quick swings,
right,
I'm going to be pretty gassed. I think I can get 35 of them.
That is actually the most realistic answer we've gotten to this question, where you thought it, you had a number. Some people think infinity, like I'll never lose. Some people, that is, so 35, so you're talking like 36, eventually you tap out and they would just mob you and you'd be done.
I'm just figuring every kid, the first few kids are getting one swing and I'm going to tee off, but I'm going to overswing. I'm going to, like you see a dude in a fight, start getting gassed after his 5th punch and he's like moving hard. So those first ones are going to gas me out. If I can pace myself, then the next, say, 20 are going to take 2 swings, and then those last ones are going to be like 3-5 swings. And like, when you're just like barely moving your arms. I get 30 kids, 90 swings.
I love it. All right, this is one of our more dangerous questions. So be careful here. If you could describe your significant other as a day of the week, what day would they be?
Oh boy, Leanne.
I immediately said Monday.
Monday's like the one day you can't say. Like every other day, like there's some goodness to it.
I don't know. Tuesday sucks, dude.
Yeah, actually, Tuesday might be the
somebody
bad
calls
day.
you a Tuesday. You
she's
suck.
not Monday because she's not all just hum. She's definitely not Friday, Saturday. She might be Sunday.
Sunday's a good one.
Sunday.
Yeah,
she's Sunday because there is a sense of dread with her that like she's very practical. Like, like I have a tooth that it needs to be fixed. And I just said, maybe I'll ride it out, see if I die first. And my wife's like, wait, what?
Now let me
and
just,
then she just
counterpoint. Let me stand up for Leanne for a second. She was just on a podcast with Christina talking about like how to give really great blowjobs. So, could
by
be.
the way, that's why she's a Sunday. That woman could suck her way out of a Chechen prison, I'll tell you.
Oh my God. Oh boy. Okay. Let's get crazy. Would you rather live your life as is, or you could be a billionaire, but you got to blow a dude every day?
Oh, wow. By the way, I almost, when you said blow a dude, I almost went, yes. And then I heard every day and I went, hold it.
Wake up in the morning, you brush your teeth, you get ready for the day, and before you head out, you just got to blow a dude real quick. But you get to be a billionaire.
I love that you go, I'm going to brush my teeth, then blow a dude.
Well, I think you wake up, you got the dry mouth and shit like that.
You're going to give a good blowjob, Bert.
How long do you want to be down there working? You want to come in with a wet mouth or not?
Get it over with. Ask Leanne.
Here's where it gets complicated, because as a billionaire, I can do a lot of good for people, and all I got to do is suck a dick every single day. Mm-hmm. Every single day, I got to suck a dick knowing that some child in Afghanistan, some girl gets to go to a school in Afghanistan, right? By the way, right now, I have no idea of politics, so I have no idea if women are allowed to go to school or not in Afghanistan. I'm just guessing. Is it the same dude?
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. That's a little different.
What if it's Tom? What if you had to blow Tom every day?
Oh, then I'm gonna stick with my own self now.
So it's got, but if it's a stranger, and it's the same guy every day,
and he's clean.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, say you know what? It's Owen Gray. Bert's like, I'll do it for free.
I'll take Owen Gray and the $1 billion, change the world.
Okay, if you could if you could erase one thing from your mind to be able to relive it again, what would you do?
Oh, erase it to relive it?
Yeah.
You've done a lot of shit too. You've lived a life, man. You got a lot of thought, a lot of
This
options.
is gonna sound super cheesy, but like I would love to be a parent again. Like I would love to go through parenthood again. Parenthood was so much fucking fun. Like when I was younger.
I would love for you to do that, and then when you're like you have a newborn again, I would go up to you and say, Bert, you did this to yourself. You wanted this to happen, you sick son of a bitch.
when we had our second kid, when we had Isla, I remember the day she was born, that night we went to bed and she cried in the middle of the night. And I thought, oh, fuck, why did I do this again?
Exactly.
I'm just thinking of the good times. I just want them to have.
No, I know.
I just want to have like walking through the mall with them, getting them in the car.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to be broke again. I don't want to be, but like I feel like I missed a lot of that because I was working. So that's what I'd want to do.
A couple more here. Would you rather go back to 18? I guess this is kind of similar to what we were just talking about, but you go back to 18 and you keep all the knowledge. You know everything you know now, or you get. Let's say you're pretty wealthy now. Let's say $10 million. I don't know how much. I don't know. I have no idea how much money you guys make. You work so fucking much. Whatever moves the needle for you, a sum of money like that, or you get to go back to 18 with the knowledge you know now.
Okay, hold on. So I keep saying that like I don't know what fuck you money is, but like I always think $20 million is retirement money.
Okay,
like I don't know what it is or it isn't,
but that's in your mind. Yeah. Okay, so you get the retirement. You get 20 million, or you can go back to 18 with the knowledge you have now.
I so badly want retirement money. I so badly want that because man, if you think I'm off the rails now on podcasts, hear me with fuck you money. You think I would be like, I mean, I'm pretty reckless now, but I even like there's some bits I don't work out because I'm like, it's too risky. It's too risky.
Yeah,
too risky. But like, yeah, and by the way, I don't think I'd get to where I am today if I went back to 18 because I'd spend the time I didn't fuck anybody like my whole life. I've only had sex with 6 chicks. So like, it's not a regret, but I know for a fact if I was going to do it over, all I do is fuck. That's all I ever do.
You know what though? I feel like you could have sex with 6 chicks or 600 chicks. If you went back in time, I feel like that's what everybody would do. Just fuck more. I feel like it's the one thing everybody wants to do more of, right?
So much more. I would fuck so much more. I would fuck everyone. Like I used to not fuck people because I thought I don't love them and I don't want to put myself out there to this person and they may what if they love me? Like I'm going to be respectful. Fuck that, man. I would fuck everybody.
I disagree with, I think I'm a weird person because like I don't have that thought where like, oh, if I could go back, I'd have more sex because I always had that choice really, or I had that moment where I thought to myself that night where like I'm out partying, I'm having a good time. I'm like, look, I can either fucking turn this party up to 11 and not be able to get a hard dick, or I can go home with a girl tonight. And I don't have one single regret when I chose party to 11. I have regrets when I went home with the girl.
Don't either. It's like when the Me Too shit went down, I was like, well, I'm out of that race. I never. But it's weird because of course I did questionable shit that now you look back and you're like, oh, I ripped my clothes off at a party. I guess some people get, or whatever. But I don't have whatever part of me doesn't have the perviness of like going like I'm trying to leverage power or whatever. Yeah. And so like don't get me wrong, I definitely did questionable shit. I remember my wife being like, I was like, wait, so my buddy passed out in college drunk and I put my balls in his mouth. You're saying I raped him? He was like, yeah.
Yeah, definitively raped. Yeah.
Shout out to Tony Hernandez.
All right, what's your closest near-death experience? You have like a million of them, I feel like.
I do have a million of them.
I mean, that broken back's got to be up there.
It's so funny. I sometimes think that I have died and I'm only alive in a parallel universe.
I have that feeling sometimes too, where I'm like, how would you know if maybe this is like my afterlife and it's just incredibly mediocre or something? I don't know.
Oh, this is my afterlife. Then this is kind of like heaven. I go back to this one time. Probably should not have said her name.
We can blur that out.
I remember this one girl. Was driving, and we were in high school, and she was. Please blur out her name because I think she was drunk.
No, we will.
And she was in an Acura. And she was flying down Himes Avenue and flying, and she flew through a light and spun the car through the light. It literally swerved, over-swerved, did a circle in the center of where the traffic light was, We had a red light. They had greens. Cars went on both sides of us, and she straightened it out and kept going. And we just went, yeah! Like, I think of that as the one time I should have died. But then there's so many times.
But honestly, what if you did die, Bert? What if like that? In that moment you died, and your afterlife you just like kept moving. But there's another world where there was the scene of the crime, and you guys were just massacred.
Oh, I actually believe that. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. I
actually believe that. I think of times on Travel Channel where I almost died, and I go, but I'm here. I wonder if it just fractures and you just keep going in this new universe. And if that's the way it works, I'm cool with it.
Yeah. I mean,
that is a good way to do it. Like not really with the Hindu where you're reborn as a different animal or whatever you're reborn as. It's just like, you keep living and just somewhere else you died.
I died in Mexico one time when I got swine flu. I died in Mexico. I remember, man, you want to talk about, like, people talk about coronavirus and, like, not being able to breathe. I was like this in a bed going.
Like Mexico?
Mexico, and I passed out. I remember drinking so I could not think about it because I was having panic attacks about it. And I'm certain I died.
Yeah, you drank yourself to death. No doubt. All right, one more here along the lines of, women. If you had to watch your biggest enemy fuck the girl of your dreams in order for you to marry her, would you do it?
Ooh.
I feel like you don't have enemies. I think like just everyone loves.
No, I have enemies. I definitely have enemies. There are a lot of people that hate me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
For those listening, Bert just like lowered his head like, yeah.
And by the way, I didn't have I think what happens is, I know for a fact most people didn't care about me like before, and then when you start getting a little success, that hatred just starts swelling.
Yeah, right.
And jealousy. And I don't. Yeah, there's definitely people that hate me. I can name 3 right now. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I
couldn't watch them.
My wife is, despite everything I've said about the woman, my wife is my wife in my dream, is the woman of my dreams.
Mm-hmm.
But I
couldn't endure that.
Okay, hold on. Now that's a great question, because you're saying, could I have gotten past this dude fucking her so that I can have this life with her?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would. Yeah. I'd definitely let that happen. Yeah.
Attaboy, man. That's the way to look at it. That's why you are who you are. All right, man.
I got to pick my enemy though, because I know one's got a smaller dick.
Dude, as always, incredible. We thank you for the time. I mean, you've got the cabin, the game show, Bertcast, Bert Bill, 2 Bears, 1 Cave, the tour. I mean, anything you specifically want to get out there? But there's just,
everyone check out the cabin on Netflix.
Yeah.
Enjoy it. Share it with people. Tell friends about it.
It's great. It's so funny, but it's like heartfelt as well. There's like a message in every episode, and you get to see his family. When your daughter's, give me the honest answer. When your daughter's asked if you were in rehab, that was real. That was not scripted or anything. That was no, I'm not in rehab, girls. So fucking
They caught me off guard with that one.
Yeah.
I always joke about going to rehab. I always go I wish they had rehab light where they served white wine and marijuana.
They are so militant about rehab. Where it's like, look, I don't want to have a little bit, I want to do a little bit less.
That's called like a bar. Yeah, you just want to go to a bar, get a little high and drink white wine. I
want rehab with Xanax. Xanax, and lightly laced marijuana and cigars and Prosecco, you're going to get sick if you drink too much Prosecco. You'll stop.
Yeah.
I love it, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Bert. Pleasure.
I love you guys.
Love you too, man.
Appreciate that, man. Have a good one, pal.
Thank you. This stuff, I'll share it everywhere.
You got it, man. And let us know when the next live show is. We'll pump everything out there for you too. Listen, if you made it this far into the video,
which is far, no one ever does that on the internet.
It's the end. You made it to the end of the video.
Full fucking video.
You watched the whole thing. So if you liked it and you watched the whole thing, why don't you subscribe?
It means you like us.
Click the subscribe button, because if you don't, I'm going to fucking murder John.
And I'm going to like it.
Kill him with my bare fucking hands.
Yeah.
And if you weren't sold on this video, there's plenty more. Watch what's next up and then subscribe. But just subscribe so I don't have to fucking kill him.
Well, I don't know. Do what you want, but subscribe. Probably.